Hello, I'm Liao. Today we are going to build a photo album with Svelte. This is what we're going to build. So this is the photo album that we are going to build. You can see there's a list of images, and as we scroll there is infinite scrolling, loading more images as you scroll. And if you click on one of the images, you can see the image details, the descriptions, the tagging, and also you can apply some different effects on the image like blur, pixelate, and all these changes will be reflected real time. And we are using Cloudinary to handle all our images. Okay, so we also will be building a feature where we can upload new images. Let me try and upload one image. So we have this image of a family eating. And if you click done, and you will see these images being uploaded. You click into it, you see that there's a description being generated based on the image that I upload, and also tagging. They are automatically tagged based on the content on the image. So then with this image view, you can actually click left or right to navigate across different images, or you can also press on your keyboard to move left or right. And you can see that the URL reflects what's the image that we are looking at. And if you refresh this page, we'll jump to the image details page, right? Which is this page, like this. Okay, so although we are like previewing the images, the link that we are looking at, the image that we are looking at, the link is updated to reflect it, and you can actually copy this link. And this is not like something like it's stored within a state. It can actually be used by users that does not have JavaScript, right? They will still being able to click it, right? So if I inspect elements and I'm going to disable JavaScript, right? Then if I click on the link, you will go to the actual page, and without JavaScript, or if your JavaScript takes time to load, it will still work. So this is the walkthrough of all the features that we are going to build in this video. Before we dive into building our photo album today, let's take a moment to talk about Cloudinary, the wonderful sponsor of this video. Cloudinary is a fantastic service that handles all your media needs, whether it's for images or videos. Cloudinary has got you covered. They offer an API service that simplifies managing your media content. So in this demo I've shown earlier, you might have noticed how quick the images load. That's thanks to Cloudinary's CDN service, ensuring fast and efficient delivery with minimal delay. As you can see over here on the screen, the animation, you can see that Cloudinary can serve different kind of images, different sizes, different aspect ratio on the fly depending on your user devices. But that's more. Cloudinary isn't just about speed. They also offer some great features like AI content analysis. Cloudinary provides content analysis add-ons like the one that you just saw on the demo. You can auto-tag the images or auto-captioning as you upload them. If you go through the documentation, you will notice that it is really user-friendly, and it explains everything you need to know about using their API. And you'll notice that they support a wide variety of languages and frameworks. For our photo album projects, we are going to use the Cloudinary Svelte library. It comes with various pre-built components which will make our work a lot easier. And if this is your first time hearing about Cloudinary, I bet you'll be impressed by the end of this video tutorial. They offer an array of services that can truly enhance your projects. Besides Cloudinary, the technology that we are going to use includes SvelteKit 2, Svelte 4, and we will be using a UI library called shardcn svelte, which we're going to talk about that later on. And so, are you excited? Let's go! So let's start with initializing our SvelteKit app. So let me open my terminal. I am going to run pnpm create svelte add latest. this will launch the Svelte starter. So what should we create? Where should we create your project? We're going to create Cloudinary album. And this will be a skeleton project. We don't need the demo app. Yes, I'm going to use TypeScript. And I'm going to leave it as the default. Okay, so I'm going to go into Cloudinary album. Run pm install. So install all the dependencies for me. I think at the same time, I'm going to go and take a look and install the Svelte Cloudinary as well. So the documentation for Svelte Cloudinary is at svelte.cloudinary.dev. Installation is I'm going to install the Svelte Cloudinary package. So I'm going to npm install this one. And at the same time, actually, I'm going to install Cloudinary as well. That's because for Cloudinary, Svelte Cloudinary is a component library for on the client side, but on the server, later on we will have some endpoints that allows you to manage your Cloudinary album. So all this will be run on the server side, which you will need to access the Cloudinary APIs through the Cloudinary XDK. So I'm going to install that library as well. Let's see. Then next thing is, as I've said earlier on, I'm going to use this UI library called shardcn. I'm not going to use much of the component over here, but let me give you a brief idea what shardcn is. Well, shardcn is not really a component library. It is a very interesting idea, the concept. Basically, first of all, this is a port from shardcn UI. Okay, so this is not affiliated to shardcn. This is actually a port created by Hunterbyte. He made amazing YouTube tutorials about Svelte, and also he ports the shardcn UI into Svelte. And I was just thinking like what UI library I should use, so why not just give it a try and we shall see. So interesting things about shardcn UI is that it is not a component library as you think of, like the conventional component library. It does have a list of components. If you go to their website, same thing as the component website, it's a ton of components. But what it does when you install this component library is actually what it does is that it will install these components into your in your code. Okay, so you can actually see the actual source of those components. You can actually change it, you can customize it any way you want, but of course you can also leave it as it is. Okay, so it's like it's a collections of components where you, instead of you copy paste those into your source code from online, from somewhere, what shardcn UI does is that it provides a suite of tools that copies those code directly into a component where you can use it, right? And because sometimes when we have component library is we compose smaller components like buttons, text, labels, inputs into a bigger one like calendar, dialog box and things like that. What shardcn UI does is the same as well, where if you have installed certain components, it depends on other components, those are all copied over into your code and you can cross depends on each other. So you can customize one button will affect all the components in your source code. So for shardcn, I'm going to download a few components. So let me show you how I'm going to install them. So installation wise is install whatever you need. Okay, so first, of course, shardcn Svelte, it depends on Tailwind. Okay, it needs Tailwind. It uses Tailwind for all the CSS of those components that you create. So I'm gonna add Tailwind as well. Install Tailwind. And I'm gonna need a few basic components that in my UI later on. So let me just install one component that you have a look how it looks like. So first thing is to install a component, you run shardcn command like npx shardcn svelte latest add button. Let me open my code editor so far. So all of these things are the things that have been installed to my code. Okay. So this is my SvelteKit project. first thing is, okay, initialize, right? So installation, new project, setup, run CLI to init. Okay, let me init this. Yes. Use the New York style with the base color as maybe use zinc. App.css. Okay, where is my app.pcss? Okay. PCSS. I guess that's a that's inside a source folder. Tailwind. Yeah, it has its default. I just use default value. Proceed. Okay, so basically you see that now I've initialized with a component. The next thing is I'm going to add a button component just to see how it looks like if you add a button component, right? Yes, proceed to add the component. When you install the component, what happens is that it will create a folder called lib components UI button, and all this is the source for the button component. It's actually the Shaxian Svelte. What it does is that it will copy this into your source code over here. You can modify it, whatever, up to you, but basically this component is tries to be as customizable as possible, and you can import this button directly into your code. Alright, and if you don't like something, you can come here and make change of it. So I've installed the button, right? Let's I think one thing we have not done is we're gonna commit. We're gonna initialize this repository, and we'll commit everything. Initial commit. Okay. Oops, let me add. Okay, so we have committed everything. And let's take a look at what we'll get if you try to run this code right now. pm run dev. I'm gonna visit this. And now we are in this page that has, well, basically nothing over here for now. And this is where we're gonna start. Firstly, what we have is we have a nav bar on top and a list of images at the bottom. So that will be in our layout, right? For our SvelteKit layout. So here we're gonna go to our layout page, right? So this root layout, this is where we are going to create that layout. So we're gonna have some nav bar over here, and then we have our container. And let's see how we can write that. So first thing is gonna create a div as a class. Right, this is our nav bar. Since we're gonna do writing it in Tailwind, we're gonna have our class will have some bottom border, like one line. It should be fixed on top. And we have full width, and maybe let's see. So this is our nav bar. Right, sitting on top. I think we probably need it to be have some padding, right? So first thing is this will be maybe have a padding. No, I think I want it to be centralized, right? So I'm gonna have it make it like a container. So I'm gonna have another class that will be the actual content of the nav bar that has container. So this one I'm gonna have the container, and I'm gonna have a fixed height. So here is our nav bar, and then on our left we're gonna have our maybe the upload button, And then we also have our maybe something like, yeah, I think an upload button on the right. So this one I'm gonna have a class called a margin left auto, so it will go all the way to the right. And this one I'm gonna have another div as well. So we have two divs over here. I want the two divs to be side by side, lay center. I'm gonna use a flex layouts over here. Flex, mixed items center. I guess I'm blind coding right now. You don't know what it looks like. Let me open this on the side, on the left side, and then the results on the right hand side. Right. So this is the how it looks like right now. So this is the nav bar, and it's fixed on top, but we have content at the back. I need to hide the content based on the nav bar, background white, so you can't see it. But the container itself probably will because we have a nav bar on top with a height with 16, we're gonna have another container wrapping this container such that it has a padding top 16, so you can it has a padding top so that it doesn't hide behind. It has some padding at the top of this container. So this is what we have so far. We have an upload button. Let's see what else. So nav bar. So the nav bar is, as you can see here, it is the content of the nav bar is centered because we use a container class. Okay. And then next thing is I am going to add some logo instead of nav bar, and that logo actually needs to be actually instead of div, I'm gonna make it a link. So this, when you click on it, it will always go to the root path, right? So whether you are in somewhere else, when you click on it, it always goes to the home page. And I'm gonna need some icons. Let's see, what icons should I get from? Does the shardcn install any icon? Okay, not really, right? So for icons, I'm gonna use Lucid. Again, just did some random research online, and I find that it has some icons that I'm good enough for me to use. So I'm gonna use Lucid, and it actually has a Svelte implementation for the Lucid icon library. It's like a wrapper that you can direct a wrapper of the icons so that they're all Svelte components. You can import those components directly and use it in your code. So I'm gonna copy Lucid Svelte. I'm gonna install it. Let me kill this first. pm install Lucid Svelte. Okay, pm run dev. Back to, maybe next time I should open another terminal instead of killing it and restart again. So now I have the icon library. Let me import the icon. Let's see, what icons can I use? For the home page or for the photo album library, I guess maybe we need it for something like a photo or maybe album. Okay, like a camera shape. I think this is a nice icon for our application because the camera from Lucid Svelte. So I'm gonna add this camera icon in instead. Let's save this. Let's take a look what we have now. Let's refresh this. So this is our icon. This is our home page. This is our icon for our application. Okay, then next thing is we're gonna have the upload button. So this will be a button instead, right? So remember we just did install a shardcn button, and these are components. So here I'm gonna import my button from lib components UI button. I think it needs to be name import. So I have my button over here. Firstly, let me type some word in the button first. This is upload. So instead of upload, right, what I want also, I want to have a icon for uploading. So this is, I'm going to search for upload. Maybe this is just nice. So I'm going to use the upload icon from Lucid as well. Save this. So I have the path over here. Maybe I need some class. Let's see whether this will give some space between the text, right? Let me go for 3. I don't know. I think 2 is just nice. So give us some space in between over here. And let's see. I think the upload button itself looks a bit huge. So I'm gonna make it smaller. So I have the height. What should I give? Looks huge though. I think maybe just like 1 rem. Is it smaller? Okay. Yeah, I think that's nice. Right? So hold on, this is 1 rem. Okay, so that is our upload buttons. Since that, I think the space, we don't need that many space, that's much space. So this is our button, the upload button. Later on, we will code our button to be able to upload. So this is the contents, this is the main layout. I think we have the things roughly sort out. So, so the content inside the container, right? This is on the left, but it should also have actually is also a container. So it's, you can see that on the left it's aligned the same way as the same way as the nav bar's inner content, right? So this is our basic layout. So now we have our basic layout. Let's move on to create the photo list page. So create a page in SvelteKit. What you need is based on you need to create a routes in the source routes folder, and every page always starts with the plus page.svelte component, right? So in a home page, this will be our plus page.svelte, and later on we're going to have our image detail page. So that will be in based on the images and the ID of the image. So that one I'm gonna have so the routes that I'm gonna create will look something like this, right? So this is the home page, and then I'll have images slash some ID, right? So basically something like maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This will be our image details page. For now, in this photo album, we will have 2 routes. So for the first route, we'll create a file in the source folder called source routes. Because it's a home, then it looks like this, plus page.svelte. For the second routes that we're going to create, this will be source routes, and then this thing, we'll copy this over here, plus page.svelte. Okay, and because this part is dynamic, it can be anything, we're going to create brackets instead, right? And then we can name this dynamic parts a name. We can give it a name. So later on, this will be our page params. So here I'm going to call it a ID, right? So we'll create these 2 components, and one will be our homepage, the component to show when we visit the homepage, and one will be component that you will see when it goes to the image details page. Right, so I think we already have this component. So we're going to create this second component. So images id place page.svelte, images id plus page.svelte. So this will be the image details page. Save this. Okay. So this will be our home page. So this will be the home page, and then later on, if you go to images 1, 2, 3, this will be the image details page. So we have two different routes. Next thing is, of course, we're gonna create the image details, image list, right? I've been saying that for a bit. So now we're gonna create the image list. First thing is we need to have a way to list a list of images so that we can show that list of images on the image list page, right? The home page. So for that, we need a function that we can call, or we need an API that we can call to create that, to return us a list of images, right? So same thing as the page, right? Just now we say that, just now we say that this is the home page, and this is the image details page. We can also design the URL for APIs as well. It's really up to you how you want to design it, but just for making it clear to separate them, for API I always prefix with API. So this one, API/images, this will give us a list of images. This is the API that gives us a list of images. And then I will probably have another API they call image id equals 1, 2, 3, 4. Then this will be the API to get one image. Okay, so we have these two different APIs. Let's see what else we need. We need to get a list of images. We need to get only one image. Yeah, I think that's it for now. So for components, for the routes components, we are adding them as in the routes, and then based on the path you have, right? Like /home or / this one, and then plus page.svelte, right? But for APIs, what you need is plus server. Okay, so for APIs, for example, for this one, it is also in the source folder, routes folder, but so this is the path, but because it's an API, it's not a component, it's not a route that you visit on your page, it's an API that you call, then it should be plus server.ts, right? Or JS, up to you whether you use TypeScript or JavaScript, but it's plus server instead of plus page, right? So for server are server endpoints, API call server endpoints, plus page is for page components for your routes. So this one, let me create this this file. So it's called API/images/plus server.ts, and then we also have this one plus image. So /image/plus server.ts. So this will be two endpoints that we have, and both of them will be a get endpoint. So I'm gonna come here and say create a get function. I'm gonna create a fake data first. This is image, and copy this one, and this as well. This is image list. Okay, so if I come here and I visit API, right? What is the name of our API again? API/images. Then this will give us the image list JSON response from the server endpoint. So here we have created an API. Then this API, this one, the one that we give us a list of images. This now we need to go to Cloudinary and get us a list of images so that we can use this list of images to show on the screen, right? So for that one, let's see how we can do it in Cloudinary. So let's go to the Cloudinary API. So this one is basically list assets. We're gonna list a list of images, right? So this is list assets under the management. Let's see. We need. How about let's check the Node.js SDK instead. Asset management, right? So this is the list assets. So this will be Cloudinary. So you can see there's actually different, based on different languages that you are using, there's different APIs. For Node.js is this one, Cloudinary v2 API resources, and then we're gonna get our resource. I think first of all, I'm not sure whether you need to configure anything for getting the API key and stuff. I think we need to configure it, right? We need to do some configuration. Config. But I think let's skip it like this for now. First, let's see whether we can get any resources. So I'm gonna import. I think Cloudinary .v2, and then this is the API resources. And this should give us the list of images. So since it returns a promise that you can do on .then, I'm gonna just wait for this one. Result. And I'm gonna pass in the result in our JSON response. Result. I need to make it async. Save this. Let's try and call this API. Internal error. Why? We need to specify some cloud name. We need to configure our Cloudinary cloud. So for this one, let's see. How do I? Let me go and Google search configure the JavaScript SDK, Node.js SDK. Oh, we need to do this. We need to configure the cloud name, API key, API secret, and make it secure. So this one we need to do it for, I guess we need to do it for every, when the server starts up. So for this one, I'm gonna add it in our server hooks, because server hooks module is basically where it will always run, it will always be run when you start your server, right? This is where you define the server hooks in your SvelteKit. So let me come here, hooks.server.js. I'm gonna copy this line of code over here. Of course, we need to import Cloudinary. And so what is our cloud name? What is API key? What's our secrets? Now this, basically we need to get it from our Cloudinary. So if you, so now I guess we are on this step of going to the Cloudinary to see how we can use Cloudinary. We need to go into the Cloudinary website. Right, so this is the Cloudinary. So just now what you see is basically the homepage and the documentation. But you need to first, to use it, you need to create an account, right? Sign off for free. Or I've just created an account, so I'm going to log in with my account. So once I'm in, you can see here, this is basically the dashboard for Cloudinary. It allows you to look at your media library, which is a list of images that you have, right? You can go in to look at it, you can configure, you can get, you can label it, you can tag it, you can add more custom information of the images. You can transform it, you can download a different version, because Cloudinary is the CDN, the image CDN on the fly. It can deliver you the original image, or like different aspect ratios, different resolutions. You can download them on the fly, or even you can have the image being downloaded with watermark. That's up to you, right? So this is the Cloudinary UI. But for us, we are not. We are programmers. We're gonna build a photo library, right? So we're gonna go to the programmable media section instead of just looking at all the images, right? This is more of the asset management area, right? So we're gonna go to the programmable media. So this will be our programmer dashboard. This is where we can see the cloud name, API keys, secrets for our Cloudinary account, as well as our credit, about usage. So I have created a free account. So right now I have not used much of my credit. I still have 0 out of 25. I have 0% use, right? So this is what the Cloudinary dashboard looks like, right? So here you will get to see your reports. You can also create some custom transformations or do some settings, right? So this is our environment. So now I'm gonna copy the credential for my cloud API key and API secret to configure in over here, right? So this can be actually read from environment variable. So here I'm going to create a file called .env. So this will be where I'm going to create my environment variable for my Cloudinary, right? So here I copy my Cloudinary cloud name. I'm gonna make it this. I think this can be public, so I'm gonna create this one. API key, public Cloudinary API key. Okay, these two are public. This is secret. Okay, so I am going to paste it. Cloudinary secret. I'm gonna paste it in, but I'm gonna do it on a different screen. Okay, so that you don't know my secret. And come back in here. Okay, I've created those, and now I'm gonna use it in my in here, right? I'm gonna read the environment variable. So for that one, let's import this actually from SvelteKit. SvelteKit actually has this static, I think private, has this module, a virtual module that allows you to import your environment variables directly with type checked and everything. So here actually I have my Cloudinary secrets, Cloudinary Cloudinary secrets. Cloudinary okay, I guess those are public environments. So I have my secrets, and then I have my public environment variables, which is my Cloudinary API key and Cloudinary cloud name. Okay, so this one I'm going to copy it over here. This one I'm going to copy it over here. So private, one thing cool about having an environment that is private in SvelteKit is that the SvelteKit will actually help guardrail and check for you if you accidentally import this module in code that will be run on the client side, because you don't want your private keys, private things, environment variables to be exposed to the public, to the user, right? So this can only be imported from the server environment, right? And so so one thing, how it knows which is public, which is private, well, basically it's configurable, but anything that prefixed with public will be public, and the rest will be basically private. So here I have configured my cloud name API key secrets. So let's come back and see whether we can get a list of images. Cool. So as soon as we configure that, right, you can see that now this returns a list of resources. Okay, this is basically the Cloudinary endpoint response. The results coming from Cloudinary, right? The list of resources and next cursor, rate limiting, and things like that. Okay, so what we're gonna do here is that actually what we need is not a lot of things from here, right? We don't actually have to create an endpoint that returns everything. I think some of this we don't really need them. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just take the public ID out from the list, and yeah, what I need is just a public ID, right? So here I have resources, and the JSON here, the data that we're gonna have is the data is resources.map public ID. Okay, so what is this cryptic thing that I'm doing? Right, so basically resources, they will be map, and I'm destructuring the object of each resources. I'm getting the public ID, and then I'm gonna return this one. Actually, let me write it this way. It's much easier to understand. Return. Whoops. Right, so this will return an object call with only one property, public ID. So this will give me, let me refresh this. This will give me a list of data that has all the public ID. Okay, so we'll be using this public ID to show the Cloudinary image on the UI later on. So now we have this endpoint. Now we're gonna go back to our page, our image list page, and then we're gonna visit. I'm gonna call this API. We're gonna load this API and show our page, right? So for loading wise, so now we're gonna go back to this homepage, right? This is where our homepage is. This is our homepage. And in our homepage, we need to have a load function to load the data, right? So what load function of a page is, or a route in SvelteKit means, is that this is a function that will load the data necessary to show this page, right? So sometimes, I think most of the time when you go to one page on different pages in a website, they will need some data, right? So those data can be fetched, can be loaded before you show the page, right? So that is the load function for, and we're gonna write a load function to load the list of images by calling this API, calling the API that we just created, to get us the list of images, and going to use this data to show a list of images on the home page. Right, so here I'm going to create a file, create a new file called pluspage.ts. Right, so for page is always plus page. In this case, we are creating a load function for page, right? So the component is page.svelte. The load function is page plus page.ts. So here I'm going to create a load function. Load. It will be an async function because we're going to call an API. And this load function, it will have a fetch parameter that will be passed to us by SvelteKit. This allows us to fetch API, but this fetch is much more powerful, right? It actually can do caching. It can actually if we are calling API in the server, calling the endpoint that we already have, then it will not actually call the endpoint, but it will do some magic such that there's no actual HTTP call if this happens. This load function actually happens on the server. So we're gonna call API for now. Await fetch, and the API that we just created is the /API/images, right? So we're gonna call this. We're gonna get a response, and the data equals await response.json. Right? Just now it's data, right? This will be an array, and this data is what we need. So we're gonna return images as the data. So data right now is any, right? So we need to maybe, it would be helpful for us if we type it out. Like this is actually an array of public ID, a string, right? Why I say it's useful, you will see next. So in our page, we have this load function that will be loading our images by calling the fetch to the server endpoint that we just created. And now in our page, this data will be available when we want to render this component, right? So how do we get the return value from the load function that we just created? Well, it will be in a props, in your props. First of all, I'm going to use TypeScript for our script. So in the props, there will be this prop called data. And this will be basically the data that comes from the load function. If you hover over here, you can see that this now has a property called images and public ID string, right? It is basically exactly what is being returned over here. Okay, so in here, in your data, now you have the list of images. We are going to loop through these images as image. Whoops. Right, images as, I guess this one I'm gonna say public ID. And you can see, let me put out the public ID. Like this, you can see the list of you can see a list of public IDs right now on the screen. Right, so next thing what we want to do next is actually, instead of showing just the public ID, we're going to use a Cloudinary image component from the Svelte Cloudinary to render this image. Right, so that is actually very easy to do. So you just need to import Cloudinary image from Svelte Cloudinary. And here you can pass in the source equals to public ID. Save this, right? And hold on, something is wrong. Oh, okay. I need a Vit's public Cloudinary cloud name is set as well. Okay, let me go and change. Let me just go and rename because that file has some secrets, so I'm going to do it off screen. But I'm just going to rename my environment variable name, right? And also in our count this hook, gonna rename it this way instead. And let's refresh again. What's the issue? I guess the may kill and restart the server. Must apply cloud name. Do I not save the environment correctly? Console. Oh, okay. I guess because it's not start with public, it's private. Hold on, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, oops. It is a bit weird. Although it says vid public Cloudinary cloud name, but then it's considered as private. So I guess we need to change this in our SvelteKit configurations. So this actually can be changed here. Let me see. Configurations. Let's see, where is the configuration? Public environment. Public prefix. Right? Anything that starts with public. I guess I can add vids underscore public instead to all this environment variable, and then I'm gonna add the I'm gonna svelte config. I'm gonna configure this. The env dot public prefix is this, right? So the oops, I think it should be here. Public prefix will be the vids public underscore, right? And let me come over here to the environment to update the public one to have the vid underscore. Start with vid underscore. So now this will have the vid Cloudinary API key and vid public Cloudinary cloud name. Right. Clear this. Save this too. Now we so what happens is that just now in our page or svelte, when we use Cloudinary image, it needs to read besides knowing just the public ID, it needs to know what is a cloud name, and the cloud name has to be in the environment variable called vids underscore public underscore Cloudinary underscore cloud underscore name, vid public Cloudinary cloud name, right? So just now we were using just public Cloudinary cloud name, but we have to change it, right? So after changing it, it's no longer exported from the after we change it, because it's no longer prefixed with public, we'll have to import from the end static private. And so we go and change what is the prefix for the public environment variable, which is vids public, right? We change that in our svelte config over here. Then now we can import this too from public, and we can also have this environment variable for our client side. Now the cloud image have this environment variable, and thus you can see that we have all the images based on the public ID directly, right? So the image looks a bit huge, right? And also if you see here, it actually is trying to warn us that we don't have the width and the height, I guess, right? So missing width, height, and that is important. So let's add some width and height. So for our use case, I'm gonna say the width and the height should be just 400 by 400, right? A square image. So this is our image with a square image, right? So if you probably because we zoomed in, so if we reset, this is the size of that image, right? So for this image list of images, what we want is that a image grid, right? So you can it's not just one image and then one following at the bottom. It is a grid of images, and that grid needs to be responsive. It can grow and shrink based on the number of images that we have. So instead of using a unordered list, I'm gonna create a div container for all this for the list of for the images that we have. And so for this one, what we're gonna use is we're gonna use the grid class to make it a grid, and the column size is 400, right? It's the same as this one, auto columns, and we're gonna place the items in the center of our grid, right? So it's center aligned within the grid. And then the number of columns that we have actually depends on the number of how big the screen is, right? So by default, I think right now is one column. Maybe it's okay, right? When it's very small, it's one column should be okay, right? I think we need some gap between the image, so we're gonna have gap 4. Right, some gaps between. But if it's small, one image is fine. But if we have more, right, then for medium screen size, we're gonna have 2 columns instead. Right, so now it's 1. If we go to medium size, we have 2. But if we go wider, we probably need 3 or 4, right? So for a larger screen size, the grid columns is 3, and extra large is grid calls 4. And I think we just need to be 4 at most. That's it. We don't need to be too much. So let's scroll down, right? So this is 1 image, 2, 3, 4, right? Okay, so this is the image, the grid layout of the image. And later on, what we need is that we need to be able to click on the image and go to the image details page. So we're going to wrap this image with a link. Right, and the image here, the link will be basically to images / the public ID. Right, so if I on the image needs to be bigger, I think we need to give a class with 400 pixels height. Oh, I think 400 is probably too big. So actually with the auto columns, you try to be 400, but sometimes if the room does not fit for 400, like, then it will actually be a min max based on the 1/3 of the container, or 400 tries to be that size, right? So in this case right now, we need to change this, right? I think this one we can change it to width to full width and full height. Let's see. And then I guess this also needs to place the items center, right? This is grid and place items center. Okay. So if I click on the images itself, it goes to image details page. Then we come back. This is a list of images that we have. Okay, so I think just nice. So now next thing is we have a list of images, right? That we can click on the link and go to the image list. And then next thing is what we're gonna do is that we're gonna do the infinite scrolling. Right now it shows a ton of images. Actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Do we have just 10 images? I'm not sure how many images, right? But I think this is not all the images that we have. Oops, where am I? Yeah, so if you go to the Cloudinary, you probably will notice that in the media library that we have way much more than 10, right? So we need to have a loading. Yeah, there's way much more images, right? So we need to figure out the pagination. Basically, we need to know when's the next, how to load the next batch of images, and then we will keep appending the images list, and we grow from there, right? We can have the infinite scrolling. So you create maybe first we create a button for us to load more, and we click load more, we're gonna call an API. I the same API to fetch more images. And for that, we need to pass in some way, like some page ID or cursor to tell us like we need to fetch the next batch from this cursor, so that we can get the next batch of images in, right? So firstly is that this loading, right, is actually based on, it's a cursor based pagination. Basically, it gives us a cursor when we return a list of resources. So if we go to the endpoint, besides resources, it actually has the next cursor. So we're gonna return this next cursor to us as well, right? So we have data and the next cursor, and so here, the data, we have the data and next cursor from the API calls, and this actually gives us next cursor. Okay, this gives us the next cursor, right? So in our code now, besides the data, we can also have the cursors, and then can use that cursor, right? The data dot next cursor, and for the next cursor, we can use it to fetch the next batch of images. And after we get that, right, we need to also add it into the list of images, but we don't want to change this data. Like after we fetch, we just want to update, right? We don't change it back. So here, actually want to create a separate variable called images and next cursor. And this images is initialized with the data images. And this is initialized with data on the next cursor. And as we fetch, we're gonna update this variable instead. We're gonna add more images into the list of images. Into the list, more images into this, and then also update the next cursor to be the next batch to fetch. Right. So here gonna have a button called load more, and I'm gonna create a click handler to basically load more. Right. So this one we're gonna call the fetch. Is the same API that we use, right? API images. And we need to pass in the cursor so that we know how to fetch more. So next is the cursor, next cursor. And then we will get the same results as well. So the same structure, right? The next cursor and data. And with the data and next cursor, then we're going to update our list of images. So the images equals to the current list of images and the next batch of images, right? So the images, as you can see here, they're basically data, right? So we're going to add more to the data. And the next cursor will be the next cursor. Okay, so let's get back to our UI. And can see load like this, load more, and this is a button. If you click, it will call API, it will load more, or it does not. Let's see what went wrong. Let's click load more. Nothing happened. This button looks suspicious. Let me see what's wrong. I think first thing is let's console log is the best tool to debug. So here is clicked, and here we're gonna console log out the response and also console log out the data. Okay, immediately I think as I type this, I realized something. This needs to be looped through a list of images instead of data.images. Let's save this, come back. So this is the images, and if you click load more, it will load more images, and you scroll down, there's load more, you have load more images, but it's the same list of images again and again. Well, that's because we passed in the next, but we didn't use this search parameters in our API, right? So we need to go back to our API, the images, and come here. get our request, and basically the next cursor is request dot search URL dot I think it's URL, sorry, not request. It's the URL dot search params get next. So for this one, the resources here, we'll pass in an option. So the next cursor is the next. And for number of images to show, I think it feels weird that it's shown here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, and then you show load more like somewhere in the somewhere like half of the list. I think we maybe load 12, right? So because 12 is a multiple of has a factor of 2, 3, and 4. So no matter how big the size, the number of columns we have, it always is not showing like a half a list, half a row for us. So we're gonna say the I think the pages. Is it? Let me see. Cloudinary documentation. Right. I have my Node.js SDK, images, asset management, gets the API for listing, and the resources, and the is there a number of type, number of results, max results, default to 10. Now my max results is 12. Okay, next cursors, next. Let's save this. Let's run again. This is the list of images. Then we have load more. And we click load more. Whoops, hold on. I think we accidentally click on an image. This is a list of image. Click load more. Then it will load next page batch of images. And again, if you click load more, it will load the next batch of images, right? So this is this is cool. This is amazing, right? So now instead of clicking on the load more, what we want is we want to use intersection observer, so that when the load more is, when you scroll down and you see this and it intersects with the page, it's visible in the page, then we're gonna load more, right? It will auto by itself without having us to manually click it on it, right? So this one, what we can do here is, okay, I don't need all this comment now. Console. We're gonna create a separate component called load more svelte, and this component basically have this div called load more loading. Okay, basically it shows loading, and when it's when this div element is in the screen, then we're gonna trigger the load more function, right? So here I'm going to use a action to add to add on to this element when this element is on the screen, right? So this is, I'm going to call this intersect function, intersect. So the node is basically the element that we just pass in. And what I'm going to create, okay, because the length has to be TypeScript. And here we're going to create a intersection observer. Intersection observer, new intersection observer. And this is the callback. And then this is maybe like a threshold of when this will be called, and some options. So I'm going to say threshold is 0.5. So 0.5 of it shows on the screen, then it should be triggering, right? So if, so the entries actually is basically which of the elements that is observing, that is being observing right now, that is being triggered, right? So because later on this one we can actually observe multiple elements if you want, right? But we only observe one element, so I guess like if entries like just the first one is intersecting, then we know that this is we need to call on load. Okay. So just observe, and if we remove this, then we're gonna unobserve this, right? So we're gonna say return destroy intersection observer dot disconnect. Is it? Yeah, stop watching all of its targets element for visibility changes. Okay. Okay, so we need to call the onload function. So the onload function for this component, I'm gonna make it like a props, because later on, instead of using a button, what I'm gonna have is the load more component like this, and then I pass in an onload function, and the onload is basically a replacement of what we called on click for the button just now, like something like this. Yeah, so I need the onload. Let me first import load more. Import load more. And we need an onload, right? So the onload is a props. Let onload. And here we're going to call the onload when it's intersecting. This is a function. So let's see. I'm gonna scroll down as you see loading, and it will automatically load more. If you slowly scroll and you'll see loading, it'll load more, right? So it basically has a intersection observer, and it will load more images, right? So here we have a infinite scrolling image container with a grid-like shape like this. If I refresh again, right, where you can infinitely scroll and keep loading more and more images, right? So before we call it a day for this this loading load more component, I think it looks a bit ugly to me. So let me see where we how we can style it. So before we I think let me comment out on load, or else we can't scroll to a position that we can see this component clearly, right? So this one, I'm gonna see how we can style this, right? First thing is we need some class for this component, right? First is it will need to be a full width, I guess. I think I know. Let me go to Lucid and get some icons. So here I'm gonna say maybe spinner or load. Yeah, loader. I think this one, loader. Loader. I think this is nice. So let me import loader. So if you notice, right, the basically what the icon name is, it's the title keys of the icon name. So this is the loader icon for this loader name. So here, so in case you wonder how I know what is exported based on this name. Right, so here I have this thing. Okay, it feels a bit weird. I mean, let me make it I think let's add a class to this one. Animate spin. Now it's spinning. Okay. I think we need some height, some padding, something like that. So padding Y. Let's see, what is the padding? In padding wise, we can give a maybe 10, right? Some padding. Okay, and then because this is not centered align, right? We need to make it center. I guess we can maybe align center. Is there such a thing? Sorry, I can't remember. Maybe I just use grid place items center. Save this. Okay, it's align center. But it feels like it's not centering the whole thing, right? Because we've already decided to load 12 images as a page because for 2 columns, 3 columns, 4 columns, it always have a nice row for us, right? But then this loading thing, it's if it's centered only in one grid, then it feels a bit weird, right? It should span across like 1 grid, 2 grid, 3 grid, or 4 grids, right? So I think for if you have something that looks like this, 1 grid column, then it looks okay. But if it's more, then I guess we need to span the grid to have more span across more columns, right? So let me see. For for Tailwind column spanning. Hold on, not components, docs. Column grid. Column start end. Okay, span 1, span 2. Okay, so I guess we can span 2 columns. Let's see. So I'm gonna say because if it's medium, it has 2 columns, right? So this is calls span 2. Save. Okay, looks I guess slightly better, right? And if it's a wider screen, then they only span 2, right? It feels a bit off. So, okay, is there an intermediate 3 columns? Yeah, 3 columns also, it's centered in 2, right? So it's weird. So for larger screen size, it's called span 3. And the XL screen size is called span 4. So if I increase, it's also centered like this, right? And looks okay. Looks okay. Looks okay as well, right? So now I'm comment back the onload. Now this one, basically now when I scroll onload, it will load more images. But I guess now, hold on, let's refresh again. It feels like maybe, okay, load more, right? Load more. And I think we are at the end of all the images that we have to be able to load, right? So in that case, we shouldn't show this loading anymore. So I believe by then the next cursor is actually gone. It's already something that's not truly maybe undefined or something. So we can check, like say if next cursor only we render this. Alright, save this. So if I scroll again, and then that's it, right? If there's no more pages to load, then that's it. We don't show the thing anymore. Okay, so this is our images. I feel like the top and bottom is a bit weird. It's a bit off. For the container, I'm thinking adding some padding for the Y, maybe like 4. At least it's not hugging the top and also not hugging the bottom. Right, something like this looks nice. Okay, just nice. So we able to list our images. Recap what we have done so far. We able to list our images. We able to create infinite scrolling. So the next thing is we are going to from one page to navigate to another page. Right. So here, I mean, we are already able to do the navigation to go to this page. So here we actually need to load the image, like the detail. But if you remember the demo that I just showed you just now, we're actually able to open a carousel and do like in SvelteKit it's called a shallow routing. Basically it is routing to a next page, but it's not actually going to that page. It has a intermediate state, like showing that page together with the current page. So it I'm not sure you've seen this. It's quite common in like Facebook or Instagram. When you open a shorts, it shows a different UI on top of existing UI. It's not going like directly to a new page, but and you can navigate around different images in your carousel while sort of like staying in that page and not navigating away the page. Right, so that's called a shallow routing in SvelteKit. I'm going to do that for the image details page. So for the image details page, let's move on to the image details component, the page component. So here, the image component will be in the images/id/page plus page.svelte. So here, in this svelte component, same thing. When you navigate to, so let's say when I go here, this page, right? So when we are at this page, we need to call an API to fetch this image, the detail of the image based on the public ID of the image. We're gonna fetch it, and so we're gonna create an API for that. And we fetch the API, load it, so that will become your props, the data props, and then we're gonna use that to show the page details, the image, and other informations. Okay, so here, first thing is we're gonna go back. First step, create an endpoint. So the endpoint for the page will be in API/image, right? This endpoint. So if you remember correctly, so this, for example, if my public ID for my image will be this one, then I would want to call an API to API image ID equals to this one. So this is how I would like to query data for the image. So here, same thing as my images, I can read this ID from the search params, right? So that will be part of the url.searchparams.get ID. That will be my image ID. And with that ID, I'm gonna call Cloudinary API to get me the image, right? So with the ID, the image actually is get image, right? Let's see. Let me open it up wide. So this is get resources, and we can also get resources by the public ID or the asset ID. Okay, so it's either maybe we just go for get by the public ID. So that will be the resource and then public ID. So I am gonna import Cloudinary from Cloudinary await. So this needs to be a async function. Await cloudinary.v2.api.resource and the public ID in this case will be ID. Oh no, let's check. If we don't have ID, then we can throw error, right? We can have error. Error takes in a status, which is a 500, I guess, right? If I think I can pass in a message also. So I'm gonna say invalid ID. Save this. So if I come over here and I visit without ID, then this will be a 500 with invalid ID. But else, I guess we have ID, then we're gonna fetch this. So if I have an ID, then I'm gonna fetch this image, and the result of that image, we're gonna put it in here. The result, save this, refresh. So this will be the result of the image, right? The basically the whole details of the image, the public ID, the tags, the info, all this information. Okay, so for this one, I'm gonna return as is, so you can get everything about the image from the API. And now once we have the endpoint for our to fetch the one information of our Cloudinary image, next is we're gonna, in our image details page, we need to have our load function to call that endpoint. So here in our images page, this component. We're going to create another component besides it called pluspage.ts. So this will be a file that will be called. We can export a load function over here. This load function will be called when we want to load our page component, our routes component. So here, this will be an async function because we're gonna call API, and here it takes in a fetch from the parameter, and I'm gonna use that fetch from the parameter to call API/images. API/image ID equals something, right? So this is a template literal. And what is that ID? Where do I get ID? Well, in our load function, we can also get the URL, where the URL, I think maybe the params, right? Because we are visiting the params this way, right? So this is the params, and params.id is exactly this one. This parameter will become our params.id. And so this one, this is the ID. And I'm gonna say this param ID over here, right? So this is the response equals await response.json. The result, return image as the result. So here we have image in our props. Then the way we can get it is export let data, right? This, I'm gonna have lang.ts TypeScript. So for the data, this basically is image with something, right? That image. So here I am gonna create again Cloudinary image, import Cloudinary image from SvelteCloudinary. The source will be the data.image.public ID. Save this. So now we have this image. It's really huge. I'm gonna create maybe a like side by side. I'm gonna use a flex gap 4. So on the left we have image, on the right you have the details, right? So on the left you have the I think for the image we're gonna create a 800 pixel image. So here the height, the width, it will be 800. The height equals 800 as well. I'm gonna make it a square. But I guess 800 could be too huge. 800 is like this, right? When you zoom out. Let's give it a maximum also, just in case when it's responsive and the smaller one. Actually it is responsive. Okay, I think that's cool. Then next part is the detail, right? So I'm gonna say flex 1, so it grows and shrinks. And here we're gonna have some additional information about the image, right? So first thing is, I think it's I'm gonna have bold font, the tags, right? Div class. I'm not sure yet, but this one we're gonna look through data.image. Where's the tags? So let's go back to API, right? The tags is basically at the image, the tags, and then this will give us a string array of tags. So that is what we're gonna use, the tags. As tag. So we're gonna create tag. Right, these are all the tags. So for the tags, we need to style it a bit. So let's write some style class. First is inline block, and then we have some padding. Padding px4, py2. Is it too big? Maybe 2. This is 1. Maybe this is 0.5. It's 1. Okay. After with some padding, we have background is maybe gray color. Maybe I'm not sure whether it's gray a valid number. I guess I'm gonna say slate 500. Let's see what are the colors. Oh wait, I remember we have set some base theme color, right? Zinc, right? Maybe zinc is a color. Let's see, a zinc color. So probably this is a bit. We can crank it up more, 800, and then white. Text white. Yep, and then we have rounded border. What is it? Border. Rounded small. Or just rounded. Let's see, rounded. Okay, it looks nice. I think the horizontal padding can be more a bit, right? 0.5. Okay. So everything clumps together. So I think rounded. This maybe we make it like medium size. Maybe large. Maybe full. Okay, full looks better. I think the padding we need to be slightly huge. Okay, something like that. But because everything is like we need everything is close together. I think we need some margin to set each other apart. So that will be the my 2. That's too much. 0.5. I think margin for left and right is the same. Okay, this looks roughly okay, I guess. So now we have some basic pills. This is the tags. Actually, right, we could have also used components from shard.cn. So let's see whether they have any components that looks like let's see, maybe a badge. Yeah, I mean that this looks much better than the one that I just created. Okay. Yeah, so sometimes yeah, I think my CSS needs my style sense needs some improvement. So anyway, let me copy this and let's create a badge and use badge instead. Right, so here open a new terminal. I'm gonna run shard.cn late at badge, and as it installs, I'm gonna import. Okay, yes. I'm gonna import badge from lib components UI badge. Right, so this will create a new badge component in my lib folder over here. And so I'm going to use this badge instead. So the way to use it is I'm just say badge and then put the content inside, right? So badge tag, save this. This looks probably better, I guess. It has the hover styles as well, not just the coloring. Here I need to split them apart, right? So I'm gonna have a space x1, so x spacing y by 1, so it's split besides each other nicely. And then next thing is I in this page think we also need some top and bottom padding, just like our over here, right? We have py4. I'll copy that in here as well. So padding for y-axis 4. Then I guess we also need some description for the image, right? So that will be here. Let me create this description. So for description, right, that is something that we will explore a bit later on how actually where is the description, or how do we get the description, because we say that we will do some auto captioning from when you upload. We can configure some auto captioning. So this part I'm gonna show you how we can create that in Cloudinary later on. So for now, description, I'm gonna say this is like full bar bars, right? So a quick brown fox jump over the lazy dog. Okay, so here we put some placeholder description. Later on, we're gonna figure out how to do the auto captioning, and then where to read that auto captioning from the image, right? So it is an add-on, and we will be able to configure such that it will detect, do some content analysis on the image, and then add caption. So for now, we're gonna put as just a placeholder, and later on we're gonna come back to change this. So here, I think maybe we also want to add some spacing, y spacing. So I'm gonna say space maybe 3. Yeah, nicely spaced out. So I think it's quite nice. The only thing that's not that nice is that when you squeeze down, I think I think probably the flex, right, should be on a medium size screen, and above should use flex, right? But if we have a smaller screen, right, it should scroll down something like this. Okay, so that will be I think it's called flex vertical by default. Is it called flex vertical? Let's see. Flex. Okay, so I think it's flex, but flex column by default, and when it's medium size, we're gonna flex row instead. So here it's flex column, right? And if we grow bigger, it's flex flex row. I think maybe it's just for small. Hold on, small, and no, medium, only for large screens, right? So medium screens is still like this. Then for large screen, yeah. Okay, so this one, although we say 800 pixels, but I think we also need to make it like maybe like a full width is, let me think. No, the max width is full, right? So max width is 100%, so it does not create like scroll thing just now when the width is greater than 800. So this is how it looks like, the responsiveness of the image. The image looks ugly. That's because the image resolution that I upload is low. It's not because of Cloudinary. I just screen capture some image online, and then so that's why the resolution looks rather bad. But I mean, at least we can see that this, for the sake of this example, later on we can upload some more high resolution image, right? So here we have this right now. It looks nice. So we go back to the home page, and if you click on an image, it will go to that image. hold on. So this one, why is it not loading? So Cloudinary sample. Right? So I guess it does not have tags, right? So I guess like not all images have tags. So if we don't have, then this page will crash. So we're gonna check only if tags data images dot tags. Okay, save this. So refresh this page. Sorry, not images, image. So refresh this page, looks okay, right? Go home and then go to a different image and come back. Looks okay, right? Looks fine. Right, so the next thing is we're gonna do some shallow routing, because here after you go in, right, you basically stuck in this page and you have to go back, right? If you are in the list of images and you want to click on image and see the carousel and scroll left and right to go to the next image, right? You want to do it on this sort of like in this page, right? But it's not, it's like you want to view this image like maybe like an overlay on this page, and then you can navigate like the carousel, like that experience. But you don't want to actually jump to a totally new page where you don't have, because this is a standalone page, right? So interacting from this to go back, you want to left and right. It's not that straightforward, right? It feels like you don't, because on this page you don't know where you are on the overall in the in your navigation, right? So we want to go click here, sort of like supposedly go to that page, but no, we're gonna open a carousel and then show the page, but the page itself, but we want to change the URL, right? So because when you click on one page, you want to actually go to that page in terms of URL, so that although like when I look at the carousel with switch images, when I copy the link actually will links me to the image that I'm actually looking at, not the full page over here, right? So if we're going to create a state using some variables to show a carousel, then that thing actually needs to be somehow is also the information of looking at a carousel should be also in the URL, so that we can share the URL of the images that we're looking at, right? If we are just staying in the same homepage URL and then we look at this image and we're like, wow, this image is nice, and we're gonna like this image is nice, and we're gonna copy this image and copy the link, and then the link is incorrect, then that's not that great. So so this kind of sort of routing, but not actually going to the actual page. You change the URL, but you're not going there. This concept in SvelteKit is called shallow routing, and we're gonna create this shallow routing in our home page. So we're gonna do it right now. So for shallow routing, it depends. There's basically you basically have this API from navigation called push states, where you can change the URL and also set some states in the URL itself. And when you do that, right, when you call push state, instead of clicking on a link, what it does is that it will change the URL and set some state for that URL, and it will stay as is. It will not, your SvelteKit will not actually navigate to that page, right? It will just stay on this current page. So to do the shallow routing, let's come here and see how we can do that, right? So here, this is in our home page. We'll click on images. We're going to do some shallow routing. So first thing is, on the link itself, we'll create a on-click listener. And we're going to prevent the default behavior of the link, right? Because when you click on the link, we don't want to actually go to the place, we want to shallow route, right? So here we're going to say event.prevent default. So now if I click on the link, it's prevented, right? I can't navigate over anymore. So after that, the next thing I need to do is actually go to that, sort of like go to that page. So I'm going to call push state from navigate. from SvelteKit's app navigation. App navigation, push state. So where we're gonna go? We're gonna go to this URL over here, right? So let me maybe make this a const location. URL is this, right? This will be our URL. And here we're gonna have push states, and then some states, right? So right after we do this, if you come over here and you click, you see the URL has changed, right? We sort of navigate over, but we are still on the same page, but the URL has changed. And we try to refresh this. Basically, now we're gonna go to this page directly, right? So let's step back. This is not what we want. We want to be here, right? So next thing is we want to show that page, the new page that we're going in as part of like a carousel over here, right? Overlay on top of this page, right? So what we can do is we can we can have the page that we are clicking on, that information. We're gonna have that page. We're gonna show that page, right? So we want this, the content of this page to be on there, right? So this page is actually a Svelte component, right? Remember, this is actually just a Svelte component, so we can actually import the page detail from this is in the images /id /plus page.svelte. Basically, I can import this and show the component right over here somewhere like this. The thing is that this component needs a data, something that we don't have it yet, right? So just for example, let's say we just fix that data to say public ID equals what we're gonna click here is this one, right? So let's just fix that this is like this. Oops. Save this. Oh no, this is image like this. Right, then basically we have this thing over here on the page, right? And we actually want hold on, let me do this way. So I will have image information equals to now, and then image, if image is something, I'm gonna show this over here like this, right? Image any, and maybe let me put it on top over here like this, right? So, and if we click on here, I'm gonna say image equals to public ID like this. Right, so if I click on here, you can see this image. If I click on here, you can see this component is this image. Of course, this is a bit ugly. We're gonna turn it into a overlay. Number one. Number two, this we don't have the tags, right? I mean, this is supposed to have tags and all the information of the image, but we don't have. But remember how does this component have it? This component have it when we call the when you load the page component, right? It actually calls a load function over here, right? So what we can do is actually we call the load function, right? Import is the function and call it. Yes, you can do that, but there's actually an easier way to do it, right? The easier way is that we can actually call preload data that comes from app navigation. So SvelteKit actually provides you a function, a method to call to load the data for that, and then returns you the data that is preloaded, So here I can come here to my page. I can actually call preload to get that data for me. Preload data. Right, so if I call preload data, and over here I'm gonna say await preload data. Okay, so this needs to be async. Await preload data. And what you pass into preload data is actually a URL. So interestingly, you just need a URL that you want to preload the data for that route. So here I'm going to call this with the URL. So this will give me the preloaded data. And if you check what the data is basically right, if you look at the console, the preloaded data looks like this. It has type, tells you whether it's loaded, the status, and the actual data. So the actual data is something that we are concerned of, but of course we also need to check whether the status or something goes wrong, right? So if something, so over here, if something goes wrong, I'm gonna catch it, and if so if something goes wrong, we're gonna catch it and we're gonna do something as a fallback. But if nothing bad happened, then we continue. We're gonna get this data. If data dot status equals to 200, right? This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna say the image is actually data dot data. Data dot data. Correct. So this is the image. I'm gonna return, and here once we catch, basically if it's not 200 or you have error, what we want to do is we're gonna actually navigate to that details page, right? So there's this function called go to. I'm gonna go to that page to go to URL. Okay, so let's close this. Let's come back. Let's go to the home page, refresh this. Okay, so in the home page, now we have images, right? So if we click on it, it will preload and then load that image. This is the image. Data image. Okay, sorry. Let's come back again. So the image is the data.image ready. So we need to, so if you click in here, click a different image, right? You set the image to this data and then you can see it. But if I click, and then if I click back, hold on, it doesn't work if I click back. It stuck here because this no one is changing this image, right? So that's not that great. So we actually, I think we do it quite nice. We click here, you can see the image that we change the URL, and then we can see this image. Of course, we need to change it, make it an overlay. But if we click back, right, we should hide this, right? So and it does not, is because why it doesn't hide back is when you click back, right, no one is updating this image variable. This image variable stays with this whatever image we just click on. So we need to have like maybe listen to back button, right? But it's not just back button, it's forward button and back button. So we need both. Listen to both things. Well, actually, right, we what we need here is we want to attach the state, right? This image that we just fetched, we want to attach this state to the history, right? So that when we navigate forward and backward, we can restore different states based on the history that we are navigating to, because we are changing URL. So each of this URL that we are navigating to, we should attach the state there. And then so when we navigate back and forth, we can retrieve the state and decide whether to show or not show the overlay, right? So that state that we can attach is actually something that can pass into push state over here. This object over here is that state that you can attach to the history with the URL that you're pushing to, right? So here, for example, I can actually come here and say image is equals to data.data.image. Okay, something like this. I can return here directly. Then to get this image out from the state, we're going to use the page star from SvelteKit. So I'm going to say I'm going to a page from app stars. So it's a star, right? So it's page dot state dot image like this. Okay. The type definition, we need to define it. You can come here to the app.d.ts. It's called page state. You can define, maybe say like image equals any for now. So now this is the type. Okay, so if I come back to go to the home page, if I click on an image, you can see the image. If I click on the image, you can see the image. Okay, and if I go back button, it basically, this state is restored from the history, right? If you can go back and forth, and then back to home page, you don't see that, right? So it's tagged to the to the to the history itself, right? So you don't have to listen to back and forth and decide whether to update a local variable instead, right? So you can attach your states to the the history. So when you do shallow routing, when you shallow routes to a different URL, you can actually restore and read the state from that URL that you are route to. Right, so here we have these details now. Okay, it looks quite nice, right? Then I guess the next thing we need to do is we need to make it an overlay, right? So that is mostly about CSS. So here I'm gonna come over here, create a div for a backdrop. I think so this div, this is we're gonna overlay the whole thing on top. So this will be a fixed container. Let's see, container over here. I think fixed first, and then we will have another thing for the backdrop. This is the backdrop, and then this is the container for our detail class container. So backdrop, fix, I need to make it on top 0, bottom 0, left 0, right 0, cover all places. And then for this one, it will be a background. Let's see. I think here we have something. Let's see, backdrop blur. Okay, maybe you can use backdrop blur. Backdrop blur. Let's save this and see the effect. Oh, okay. So this one, it's also needs to be fixed. Top 0, bottom 0, left 0, right 0. Save this. Okay. So this one, the z index probably will be at 0. And this one, we're gonna have z index at 10. Relative. Okay, so this is our image. We have container. Let's see. Yeah, container. Maybe we need a bit more of padding or margin on top, and margin y to be, say, 2. Sorry, my too little. 5, 6. Okay, my 6, and maybe we need padding also. P, m, maybe margin on both direction. Not that nice, I guess. Maybe px3. Oops. 10. Oh, I think maybe it's okay like this. We don't have need padding. Hold on. Okay, we need to set background for this one to be white so that we can see, yeah, we can differentiate it, right? And then maybe add some drop shadow. Shadow wise, maybe let's, okay, get a bigger size, maybe XL. Let's see. Okay, so now I think the margin can be even greater. Okay, I think this is good enough. So this is our carousel, right? When you click on an image, okay, go back, forth, back and forth, backward, forward, backward, backward. Okay. Okay, looks nice. And if I refresh, then this is the details page like this instead, right? So if I go back, here, if I click, it doesn't go to that page. It have a shallow routing, a shallow routes to this carousel on top. So here with my carousel, what I need to do next is I need to be able to close it also when I click somewhere elsewhere, right, on the outside, right? So here, I think this is where we click on the backdrop, right? So on the backdrop, when we click on it, what we need to do is we need to go back to the home page, right? So this is the go to home. I save this. So if I click on here, it goes to the home. Hold on, it goes to home. But why is it not? Okay, I think maybe we need to push state to home instead, and then change state to empty. And we're gonna go do this with no image. So over here, this actually needs to be a optional type, or else it's complaining. So this one needs to be, oops, not this one. Let's see. The type definition here needs to be an optional. Okay. Over here also we need to ignore some accessibility warnings. I know what I'm doing. Please not. Spell ignore. Oh yeah, another error warning. Okay, so let's see. If I click here and I click outside, it will go to the home page. Clearing everything. Nothing more on the state anymore. Right? I can go back. Hold on. Yeah, go back. You will show this, and then back and forth. Can come here. Okay. So besides clicking on the backdrop, maybe we can also click on a close button over here. So I'm going to create a close button on top of this container. Let's see. This is a button. On click, it also will close to this. And for this button, we're gonna have the class. Let's see. Maybe I'm just gonna use the shard cn button instead. What's the button? Any outline ghost? Yeah, maybe a ghost button. Variant ghost. So import. lib components UI button. No, name import. See, so this button, the variant is goes, and we can get maybe a cross icon from Lucid. So this is close, right? Close, maybe something like a cross X. Yeah, maybe an X button. So this is just X, I guess. X import X from Lucid Svelte. See what we have. Okay, we have a cross over here. Click on it, we'll close. Now, of course, this one needs to be positioned absolute top 0, right 0. Here, click to close it. But I guess we need some margin on the left. 2 empty. 2. Right, something like this. Oh no, not on the left margin, right margin. Right, something like this, and I click and then close. Right. Yeah, I think that's nice. So now we have a shallow routing where we can open and close. And if you with JavaScript, because we prevent the default and you show this carousel. But if you go to the page exactly, if you refresh this page, it will land on the image details page instead, right? So the beauty of it is that I can open this, I can copy this link, share to anyone, and they can open and see the image that I'm looking at. Amazing, right? While sort of like staying on this page, right? And it preserves the state when you go back and forth as well. So here, let's see, the thing that we need to do next is that we also want to be able to navigate left and right on this page so that we can actually go to look at other images as well, right? So here I'm gonna create a creates 2 more button over here, right? 2 more button. One is and the icon looks like should be left arrow and right arrow. So I'm going to copy this arrow left. I assume the other one is called arrow right. Right, so and these buttons are going to be on the top 50%. One on the left, one on the right. Save this. Yeah, and I'm gonna shift this a bit towards X, maybe like 100%. No, negative 100%. Shift it out a bit, maybe 105%. And then this one will shift to the right instead. Yeah, so I have this and this button now. But of course, when you click, it shouldn't close, right? It needs to navigate left and right. So we need to know the index, the current index, and then we can navigate next and back and forth. And then that index again is need to be part of the state, right? So that when you click on it, you know what is the next state to navigate to and back and forth. So that index will be in the state as well. And you can get the index from the array, actually from the each function. This should give us the index, right? So we need to know the index. Again, index should be part of the state. And now we need to be able to navigate left, right based on the yeah. So I think here gonna navigate direction number. So we're gonna get the page dot state. Right. So this is a store, so we're gonna get the store value first. So we're gonna come here and say import get svelte star to get the store value of the page, so they can get the actual state dot index. This should gives us the current index. So the next index is actually this. Whoa. Oops. This plus the direction. So this is the next index. And if next index greater, so if the next index is something that is within the bounds of the images, next index less than images.length, right? Then actually we can load that image, right? So we can actually say direction. Hold on, we need to load the image, right? So the way to do is we're gonna copy the same code that we had earlier on, right? We able to do this preload. We're gonna do this here as well. Gonna preload this URL. What is the URL? Well, the URL is basically images next index dot public ID, and it's based on that public ID, right? So it is let's see, it's here as this one. Like this. So images next index public ID, and index will be next index. So we're gonna push this next index state to here, to the states, right? So navigate now. So once we have this navigate, we're gonna come here. This is left is -1. Navigate to the right is +1. Save this. Let's try. So here we have our page. Click right. It should go to the next image, right? You click next. It should go to the next image. And go back. It will go left. You go to the left images, and also the back button should work. No. Yeah, the back button should work. Right. So the back button would work to when you navigate left and right, right? So you can also click to navigate, and also you can click on the history back and forth button to navigate as well. So here you have this. I think one small detail that we can add is actually when at the beginning, right? If the index is 0, if page.state.index goes to only when it's greater than 0, we're gonna show this button on the left button, and also only if page.state.index less than images.length -1. Only if then we're gonna show the button, right? So this one don't have button. This one have both buttons. Okay. So that's the navigation that we have on the image carousel. So the next thing is we are able to show all this. I think the next thing is we want to be able to upload an image, right? So here we're gonna let's do a recap. Now we're able to do a shallow routing to show the carousel before we actually jump into the page. And here we start, and then to show this, we're gonna set something into state, right? And if we just create a variable and store that state in the variable, then when you click back and forth, we need to figure out how to restore or forward and backward for the state that we have in our the variable within our component, right? But what you can do is when you call push state, you can attach the state to the history, right? So later on, when you click back and forth, Svelte will retrieve that state out from the history stack to us, and so we are able to use that state to constantly update the content on the screen, right? The presence of that state will tell us whether we are in the history, the URL that has the state attached to it or not, right? So we're able to do this shallow routing. So the next thing we're gonna do is to do uploading, right? So what we're gonna do with upload, for upload image, we need to be able, we're gonna integrate with the Cloudinary, Svelte Cloudinary uploader, image uploader. It will we will see how we can do a basic upload, and later on when after we upload an image, we can actually see how we can configure our upload function to be able to add custom auto tagging and auto captioning, right? So we're gonna start simple first. We're gonna start with the basic uploading, and then once we upload, we want to check how we can upload with auto tagging and auto captioning. Let's see how we can do that. So firstly, we're gonna use the upload widget from Svelte Cloudinary. So let's take a look at its doc, Svelte Cloudinary. Let's see, where do I save it? Yeah, here. Svelte Cloudinary has the cloud upload widget, which basically you can wrap it on a button, and then you can create any element button components for your upload, right? So this is the cloud upload widget. We're gonna use this for our upload. So here, let me go back. So where's our upload button? It's in the layouts, right? So we are gonna go to the layouts component, and over here I'm gonna import the Cloudinary upload widget from Svelte Cloudinary. And I'm gonna find my upload button, which is this one. I'm gonna wrap it over here like this. Wrap around the upload button. And I need some upload presets. And there will be a let open and let is loading. I think let me just copy this first. And I'm gonna talk about the upload preset later on. Right, so on click is to open, and is disable is when it's loading. Okay, so what is the upload preset? So for Cloudinary, right, when you upload a image, you need to set up what is the configuration or what is the options for upload. And because sometimes there's a ton of options that you can pass it in, so you can actually create upload presets so that when you upload, you just use that preset instead, right? So preset will be like a name that will be identified assigned to a preset, and you specify that preset in the upload widget instead of having to specify all the options that is available for a upload widget. To set up a upload presets, you can go to the Cloudinary settings. So here I'm in my Cloudinary console. On the left, you see the settings button, and in the settings for the upload settings, you can see that there is a list of upload presets, right? And so basically here is the presets. So let me enable an unsigned upload. So we have a unsigned upload, basically uploading the upload presets. These are the names of the presets, and you can change it, right? And there is different mode. There's a signed mode and unsigned mode. Signed mode means it's a secure. You need to use your Cloudinary's API key and secret to sign a key. So you use that key to together with your upload. In that case, this is important because you wouldn't want to allow anyone to upload, right? Maybe they reverse engineer and they try to use your Cloudinary to upload account to upload things to your Cloudinary account. That's not what you want. You want to prevent that, then you will use a signed upload. For now, we're gonna not. We just want to try out uploading, so we can go for an unsigned. For unsigned upload, you don't need the signature, right? And the difference between signed and unsigned is that for unsigned uploads, you can't do a lot of add-ons because those will take in account of your Cloudinary quota. It will charge you amount money. So those things you will have to have signed upload so that you can use those things, right? So here, this is the name for my presets, and I actually can rename it. So I'm gonna say unsigned preset number 1. Okay, I'm gonna copy this. I'm gonna save. So this is my my unsigned preset. And I'm gonna copy this name and I'm gonna paste it in over here. This is my unsigned upload presets. So here, once I set this like this in my upload preset, which means I can already now go and upload files to Cloudinary. Okay, so it's that simple. Okay, it's that straightforward. You create a widget, you wrap it, you pass some slot props into your buttons that you create. If you don't want to create your own button, you can also use the Svelte Cloudinary upload button. So it's a widget with its own button all in one. Right. So for now, we're gonna use the just the widget and we create our own button. And one thing you need to know is you need a upload preset, which you can go to the Cloudinary console to create one if you don't have. And inside the preset, you can set up a lot of things like the name, where you're gonna upload to, the folder, some access mode, whether you do want to do backups, you want to have media analysis, upload controls, things like that, right? So we're gonna leave everything as default. I'm not setting anything for now. And I'm gonna just try do a simple basic upload. So let's try. Here when I click upload, immediately you can see this Cloudinary UI widget is showing to us. So Cloudinary UI, it's amazing. It allows you to upload images from your files, or you can also copy a URL and then use that URL to upload, or you can create take a picture immediately with camera. And you can also use data from Google Drive, Dropbox, Getty Image, Unsplash, anywhere. You can get images directly online into your Cloudinary account, right? So here I'm gonna search maybe for a dog. I'm gonna add this dog. Okay, gonna add next. I'm gonna select this image. So if I click upload, basically Cloudinary will go to this Unsplash to download this image and upload to my Cloudinary account. So I'll click upload, and I think that's done. Okay, done. And we don't see anything because we didn't do any refresh. But if you try to refresh this page, you will see this new image being uploaded to our account. You can click and can see this stock image, right? So it's that easy. Okay, this is how you upload image to Cloudinary. So next thing is we need to create a signed upload, right? We want to actually next thing we want to do is we want to create another upload presets. Let's see, another upload presets, which I have already created over here. I'm gonna show you how I create it. Let me delete this for now. I'm gonna create a new upload presets, and this one I'm gonna call it a auto tag captioning. So it will do auto tagging and auto captioning. Auto tagging captioning. This is the preset name, and it has to be signed if you want to be doing tagging and captioning. And then the rest I'm gonna leave as is, but for media analysis, I'm gonna turn on the Amazon recognition auto tagging and the Google auto tagging as well. So I mean, you can turn on as many as you want. I'm just gonna try maybe 2 add-ons. So these are add-ons that you need to enable, and I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna enable later on. So these two, I'll turn it on, and then I will so this will basically tag your these are the add-ons that allows to tag your media files, right? And basically it will generate a list of tags that they think that is based on your image. After analyzing your image, it thinks these tags, and there will be some confidence level for each of the tag, right? So you can actually assign like what is the threshold to say that, okay, if the confidence is more than 0.7, then I will auto tag this image, right? Assign the tag to my image. So I'm gonna leave it as default. Then next thing is the detection. For detection, I'm gonna say captioning, because I want to do auto detect like the caption. And how do I know this value? This name over here, right? So this is basically I found it here. Is AI-based image captioning on Cloudinary documentation, and it says that the detection is called captioning, right? So I copy this and come here. So this is the detection, right? That I want to do on the captioning detection I want to do on my image. So this is it, and let's. I think I'll leave the rest options as is. I'm gonna save this. And so now I create a new preset called auto tagging and captioning. I'm gonna come in here and replace it called auto tagging captioning. So that's easy, right? So you can, so how you do every time you want to change some options, you can come into the dashboard and make changes. You don't have to come to change the code over here in your widget. So even if it's live deployed, you don't have to worry. You don't have to change the code, because you can always come in to your upload settings presets. You can change what are the add-ons, or what are the new features that you want to turn on for your presets. So we've chosen the Amazon recognition and Google auto tagging, these two, for doing our tagging. Then those are add-ons that we need to turn on for our account as well. So we can come over here to explore, which is add-ons, and here you see that I have turned on 2 plans, right? I can remove one of them first, and I can show you how I add them. Right, so basically here, these are the list of available add-ons. You can come into Google auto tagging, and you can choose a plan, right? Of course, we're gonna, for the demo sake, we're gonna choose the free plan. So you can click on free, and it's subscribed, and that's it, right? So there's a lot of add-ons that you can do, like Google AI video transcriptions. You can add this, and then when you upload video, it will transcribe and generate subtitles for your Google for your videos. There's also video tagging. There is like Google Translation. It will translate the results. Maybe the text that you generate are English, then it will translate them to maybe French, German, other languages as well. And there is also other things like moderation. Maybe if you upload something that is illicit or not safe for work, things like that, then you can actually turn on this moderation add-ons, and you can go to upload settings, for example, here, right? You can turn on media analysis, and you can turn on moderation. I think moderation is on the, let's see, auto moderation, right? So there's a lot of different kind of moderation, right? Whether the Amazon recognition, Google video moderation, whether it's duplicate and all this, and you can turn them on, and you have to go to the add-ons to turn on the add-ons as well, right? So the add-ons are charged separately. You can see the pricing, it's charged separately, so you have to turn on those add-ons. So we have already turned on add-ons. We have created our upload presets. Now, next thing we need to do is over here, because this preset is uploading for a sign upload preset, so we actually need to come in and see how we can configure for a, let's see, the usage, a sign request, right? So for the sign, we actually need to create an endpoint to create a serverless function that reads to handle this, to create a signature for us whenever we want to upload something. Right, so the signature is actually based on the presets we're uploading, and then also based on the timestamp, right? So make sure that this no one would generate one copy of signature and then store it indefinitely. So we want to prevent people from trying to reverse engineer or crawl our website. So you create an endpoint, and so that endpoint, whenever we want to upload, it will use that endpoint to generate a signature, and that signature will only last for I don't know the exact detail, maybe a few minutes. And once that that signature, whenever we upload something, we use that signature to alongside to upload to send to our upload form together, right? So that signature is created based on our API secret, and we're gonna copy this code over here to see how we can do that. Right, first thing is, of course, we're gonna create a signature endpoint. So here, the endpoint, and that means that we actually need an endpoint to create a signature, create an endpoint, right? So I'm gonna create an endpoint at apa/image/signature. So in that case, if I'm gonna do that, then I'm gonna create a file called API image signature slash plus server.ts. Right, so we need to create this endpoint, and this endpoint is going to be a post endpoint. And so let me copy this code and see how to implement this one. Right, so this post endpoint should import Cloudinary. So it's using this API sign method request, and then params to sign is actually the body. Okay, so this one has the request, and then params to sign equals to request.json. Oh no, par body. Okay, and then I get the environment. So this is actually a secret that we can actually get from env static private Cloudinary secret. Okay, now this JSON will return a signature, and if we have error, then we're going to return our error. Okay, so here we have this endpoint. Now we also have this signature endpoint. Then I guess that's it. So let's come back to our code and let's try and upload. This time around, we are going to upload with the auto tagging captioning presets. Right, so same thing. I'm gonna go to Unsplash to get some images. This time I'm gonna get a cat instead. Okay, so I'm gonna use this one. This looks nice. This cute little cat. I'm gonna use this, maybe a small image. Upload. So upload and process, and I guess that's it. So we click done, and if we refresh, you can see that there's a new image being uploaded. And if you kind of click on the cat itself, you can see that it has all the text here, right? The previous one, we don't have anything because the upload presets that we use to upload the dog has no auto tagging. But for the cat, yes, we added auto tagging, and now it has all the auto tags. And we also added the captioning detection, right? So if you look at the documentation, it says once you add captioning, it should be somewhere in the info detection captioning data caption. So this is the where the captioning will be alongside with your assets information. So in that sense, for that, let's try and read this value out in our detailed page. So I have my detail, right? So instead of full bar, bar bus, a quick brown fox jump over the lazy dog, we're gonna use data image dot this is info detection captioning. Info detection captioning and data dot caption dot data dot caption. And I'm not quite sure whether any of this is available, so I'm gonna just do optional chaining all the way in. Okay, let's save this and let's see. Yeah, now we have a description: a woman holding a cat in her arms and a hat on top of her head, and a hat on top of her head. Oh my god, that still some sort of weird grammar, but okay, nonetheless, we able to get a description. So this one does not have description. We handle the undefined case, but this one, a group of people sitting around a table with food. So as you can see now, once we turn on the auto captioning and auto tagging, these are all auto generated by Cloudinary, right? So here, let me create a variable called description. This will be goes to this one, and the tags is equals to be the data dot image dot tags. So I'm going to use this, and then this one is the caption description, and only we have description, then we show the description section. Alright, so this one like this, and next one we don't have anything. We'll just leave it blank for now. Okay, so basically now we are able to create our upload presets, and we turn on some add-ons so that we do some content analysis. Over here in this demo, I show you two things: the auto tagging and the auto captioning. But there's a lot of add-ons that you can add to your Cloudinary account that it can do for you, right? So just now you have seen you can actually do transcriptions, you can do moderations and stuff like that. So the sky is limit. I think a lot that's basically Cloudinary has integrated with all sorts of ML cloud providers to get all these services integrated to your image uploading pipeline, and you don't have to integrate them yourselves. So we have this now. I think a few more things to touch up. After we upload, we need to refresh this page so that we get the latest image onto the screen as well. Right. So to do that, right, I think one thing we can do is we can, in the Cloudinary upload widget, we can actually have the we can add on, we can have some on, what's this? You can have some callback functions when we have after we upload, right? So this is on upload. So over here I can say on upload, and then this one I'm gonna maybe in on upload I'm gonna invalidate the page so that it will refresh, right? So I think this one only affects if we are uploading in the home page, right? So one thing you can do in SvelteKit is that in your page, in this page, when it loads, you can have this thing called depends, and you can give a name, right? For example, this load function depends on, let me give a name, say maybe app home page, at home page, app homepage image list. right? So this load function depends on this one. So if we something change this one, then this whole load function will need to rerun. So I'm gonna save this and come over here in the layout. No, not this one. This is the image detail, right? It should be this one, the homepage one. Depends. I can copy this and can come to my layout and I can invalidate this thing. Invalidate. Right, I will invalidate this homepage image list. Right, so if I'm in this detail page, if I come here to this page and click upload and I call it invalidate, it will not do anything because there's no load function in this page that is currently depends on the thing that I'm invalidating. But if I am in my home page and here and I try to upload, okay, let me maybe Turkey. Okay, I'm gonna use, I think this is quite nice. Let me use this one. Upload. And as I finish uploading, then I need to invalidate and refresh the page. But the page is not refreshed. Why? Okay, so let's see what's wrong with the loading. So in my page, this is the data, but it depends on the images, right? So if the data will definitely be changed after we do that thing, right? After we invalidate it, but our page is rendered based on the images, and we are not and right now our list of images is rendered based on this variable that we assigned over here. We need to actually update this images whenever there's new data coming in. So here I am gonna write it as data update images with the data. No, I'm gonna say props change like this, I guess. So images equals to data.images. Next cursor equals to data.next cursor. So I'm gonna save this way. And let me try again. I'm gonna upload maybe this Turkey instead. No, I think this is quite nice. Upload. So once it's done, it should re-render with one more new image over here, right? This is the new image, right? And as we scroll down, you will see, yeah. And if you click here, you can see this is, it has the description, it has the tagging, and yeah, I think I've done it quite nice. Quite like what we have achieved so far. So basically you can invalidate anything in your load function, right? So so in the upload, we will do the in our upload here. After it uploads, we will invalidate a load function, and so that it will the load function will be recalled and then re-executed, and then the data props will be repassed. A new data props will be passed to the page component if the load has changed, and you have to handle that data changes and use it to update your page. So that's it over here. So basically we went through how we can create a upload feature with Cloudinary. I think it's quite simple because SvelteKit has already provided a Cloudinary upload widget. We just use that and that's it, right? And for uploading, you can all the settings for the upload is is configured on the Cloudinary dashboard through this thing called upload presets. So for each presets, you can configure what are the options that you want, where to upload to, what add-ons to turn on, what are the analysis tools, moderation, all these things are configured per presets. All you need to do is to copy the preset's name into your Cloudinary upload widget. And there's two types of upload. There's signed and unsigned. Unsigned means just anyone can upload, but the features that you can do is limited. But for signed, for signed uploads, there's a lot more things that you can do, but you need to create a signature endpoint so that whenever it uploads, it will call that endpoint to fetch the signature so that it can make sure that you are the right person to upload this to make this upload request. So we are done over there. Now I think it goes to the last part of what I'm going to show you is I'm going to create some filters on the fly with these images, right? So all these images are sent through the Cloudinary CDN to you. And when you receive this image, you can when you fetch this image, you can actually specify the options to get the image. Okay, it can be custom aspect ratio, can be something overlay on top of images, or you can apply some filters, and all this will be all this transformation will be applied to the image before they send it to you. Okay, so when you receive the image, it is already transformed to you. Right, so this is the powerful part from the Cloudinary CDN, and now we're gonna show you that how you can like specify different filters and then use those filters to be I'm gonna use those filters and to load our images from Cloudinary. Right, so first thing is what we're gonna do here is that we are gonna go to the details page. I'm gonna go here first. In this details page, I'm gonna create a section that has different types of filters. So I'm going to the image details page. Here we have the description, we have the text, and lastly, we are going to have a filter. So this one, let me copy it this way. Right, div. And this is called filters. Save this. And for the filters, we are going to have a list of different types of filters that we can apply onto our images, right? There will be, I think, let's just take a page from here. I think there's a few types of filters, transformations that you can apply. The first one will be the tint. Okay, maybe I will have a tint. So okay, let me see how I should do this. Okay, I will be creating a function called apply effect. Effect is the any. Okay, let's just do any for now. So I'm gonna have a tint button. Apply effect. The effect is called tint, right? And here I am going to import this button first. Apply effects. The tint is, let's see, this one. I'm gonna copy this tint function. So the effect is this tint equals to this string. Okay. Next, we have the maybe more examples. We can apply color background. Okay. I'm not sure whether that's a effect, but let's try. So color background. So this one will be remove background to true, and the background is blue violet. Maybe I put it to blue violet. Let's keep it as is. Let's see. We can have image background. I think it's okay. I'm not quite sure what's can have filter effects. Okay, blur. I think that this is the most easiest to understand. You can have blur. You can have grayscale. This is blur. I think we have quite enough of effects. I'm gonna stop for now. Or the last one. I remember last one is a fun one. Pixelate. Okay, so now in this page, in our image, we have these few buttons. I'm gonna click on it, will apply effects, right? So what is the effect, or where the effects will be applied to, right? The effect, basically we have a variable called effect equals to this one, equals to what? Let me see. I think you can pass in effects, right? Effects, filters and effects. So all these are effects that you can apply. Just now we say remove background. Is that not? That's basic transformations. Okay, that's different. Effects. Objects in the effects can include everything in basic transformation and filter effects above as well as this. Okay. Then I guess we can have an effects array that can contain all the basic transformation and the filters and effects. So we can create an effects array, and we're gonna pass it in to like a props to this Cloudinary image right here, like this. Okay, let me have a type called, let's just say any. And whenever we apply effects, what we do is effects.push effect like this, and then we set effects equals effects. Save this, and let's see. Okay, so here, if I color the background, nothing happened. If I do tint, okay, something happened. Blur, grayscale, pixelate. Maybe let's not do color background for now. Let's just remove this for now. Okay. So make our life easier. But basically this shows you how you can apply effects onto the image. Okay. So for this one, right, once you apply the effects, it's basically it's updating the image URL so that it will use this URL to fetch from the server. It will use this you will have a custom image URL to fetch from the server. So the image is transformed on the fly, right? So if you look at the image over here, as you see the source, this is already grayscale and blur. This is part of the URL. Okay, this is this transformation is done on the fly when you load the image. So next thing is if you refresh this thing, the image, the transformation is gone because we don't know what are the filters to apply to the image, right? So because we click, but all these are only change the URL when we fetch the page, but the changes in the URL is actually stored inside our like local state of this component. But if we refresh this information is gone. So we need to store this information somewhere in the image together with the image, so that next time when we load the image, we also apply the same filter after we get the image itself. So how? So basically, every image in the Cloudinary has this thing called context or metadata, and so we're gonna add tag something. We're gonna serialize the whole effect array, store it in the metadata. So next time when we fetch the image, when we get the public ID to fetch the image, we also get the metadata, and then we use the metadata and the public ID of the image to get the image, the correct, the full image URL with the filters to fetch from the Cloudinary CDN, right? So whenever we click apply effect, what we want to do next is that we want to store that effects into the Cloudinary, the image metadata, right? So if you look into the Cloudinary image media library, if you look at one image, you can probably see that there is like a lot more contextual metadata that you can add to the image itself, right? So that is where we're going to tag along this this information in that metadata, and later on when you fetch image, you can also see the image metadata, right? So for example, for this image, right, if we go to localhost, API image ID is this one, right? So this is the image that we get, right? And if you come in and add some metadata, so let's say test, test, we'll call 1, 2, 3, right? Once we create this metadata and you refresh this, you can see that this is now in the context custom text 1, 2, 3. So this information is available once you fetch the image information. You can use this plus the public ID together to form the URL to fetch the image, so you can get this transformation on the image on the fly when you fetch from the CDN. So what we do next is that basically every time when you click on here, we also want to sync the effects to the Cloudinary server as well, right? So this one we're gonna create an endpoint, and that endpoint allows us to set or updates the metadata of the image, right? So we're gonna create a new endpoint, and this endpoint is gonna be called fetch. So here the endpoint is gonna call API images update apply effects, and this is gonna be I think a post endpoint, because we're gonna send effects as part of the JSON body. Something like this. This is what we're gonna do. So for this one, we're gonna create this endpoint first, right? So this endpoint, it's gonna be, I'm gonna create in the roots folder. Oops. Let me just copy this one. In the routes folder, API image apply effects, and then because it's an endpoint, we're gonna plus page.ts over here, and we're gonna create a post endpoint. So we're gonna export function called post, And then we are going to find Cloudinary documentation to see how we can update the image metadata. Alright, so in our Node SDKs, we have a admin. I think it's somewhere in the image administration. Maybe it's somewhere in the upload API. Context, metadata management, context. I'm gonna add a context to the image that we have. So this is the add context. What the context we're gonna add, and then some public IDs. Okay, so for the context, it's gonna be a string and basically the name and the value. And I guess pipe is to split different types, but we're gonna just do it for the effects. So let's copy this one. Let's see. So we're gonna import Cloudinary from Cloudinary. So Cloudinary v2 uploader, remove this one. So public IDs is not remove. I'm gonna add context. Okay, so the context that we're gonna get is should be coming from the request body JSON. Let's see. Actually, just treat it as text effects. And this one, we are going to get it from the URL instead. So it takes in an array, because public IDs, right? It says string array. So I'm going to use the URL that search params got ID, but we make it an array because I can, because we only have one at a time. I'm gonna call this one, and then I'm gonna return JSON. Maybe just empty for now. I haven't figured out what we need to pass in. Oh, sorry, not page. It should be the server. Okay, so I think that's it for now. And let's apply effects post. Okay, we need to also pass in the ID. So here, apply effects. I think one thing is the ID equals to url.search params.get ID, right? And if no ID, then we're gonna have the error 500 missing ID. Like this. And then in our images here, we'll apply this. This ID is the data.image.public ID. And I guess that's it. So when we click apply effect, then this will be the effects that we can apply on, right? Next thing we need to do is that whenever we have new update on the data, we need to also set the update apply effects. I think this one I'll call it from props first. Data. So whenever data change, we're gonna apply the effect from the props. So what it means is that data, the data dot where we can get this is basically we've seen this is in the context. The tag, the context custom context.custom dot, and then we're gonna set it in effect, right? So this is the effect. This one, JSON parse. I'm gonna pass this one. So image coming from the props, basically when we load the data, this will be giving us the custom effects, custom context. We have the effect. I'm gonna parse it because we set JSON, we set string, JSONify string value in, right? So this is the string. I'm gonna parse it and then get this parse effect. I'm gonna apply this to our variables over here. The reason I'm not doing the derived thing is because it'll be a bit confusing later on, because this should always derive from data, but at the same time we're gonna update this value in to the effects as well. So it probably will be confusing, right? So here we have this variable, just a variable that we declare, but we have two places to update it, right? So one is you call it apply effect, one is called apply effect from props. So after we parse this, right, then I guess what we can do is we will apply the effects. So effects, first of all, just clear the array 0, effects length, and then for const effect of parsed effect, effects dot push effect. Yep, and then effects equals effects. Apply everything over here. Let's come back and let's refresh. So now if you click tint, you apply this effect, and hopefully you call an endpoint that will update the custom context, right? Hopefully that is the case. And if we copy this public ID and then we take a look, now it has the effects, and this is a string. Basically, this is the effects that we applied. Right, so now if I come here and I refresh this page, should be loading the thing, taking out the effects and apply it, but it's not. So in that case, let's take a look at what is the effects that we get so far. Console log effects. Inspect element. Console. Let me clear this, refresh this page. And nothing. Okay, nothing is okay. Probably we have swallowed away the error, so let's just take a look at the error and see maybe something went wrong with our code. Save this. Let's try reading custom. I think this is data image context custom effect. Right, okay, so now if I refresh, this is already applied because once we download the image detail, we get the context, and then we read the effects on the context, and then we'll use that with the public API to create the URL, right? So this image address now contains the effects together with the image itself. Okay, that's amazing. So I guess that's the effects. I think you have seen like how we can apply effects on images, and at the same time you can also call Cloudinary to add more metadata information, any information that you actually want. You can actually add more things to it, tag, label, like those basic image management kind of thing into the images itself, and you can retrieve it when you read the image details as well. So here you have this image. If you go homepage, it's not applied, but we can actually get it out the same way. Basically, get this and then apply that effect onto our image as well, right? Of course, when you open, it has it because this is the same page as the image details page. So we just need to redo the same logic into our image list, and I guess that is how you will also get the if applied effects images on the image list as well. So I think that's all the features that we're gonna go explore through in this video. I will leave this part up for you as an practice. But as we have gone through this whole video, let's recap what we have done so far. First is we have created a SvelteKit app that we can load a list of images from Cloudinary, right? So this part we are able to call Cloudinary API. We set up Cloudinary, get an API, fetch a list of images, and show it up in a grid view. And Cloudinary API is paginated, right? So it gives us maybe like a default of 10 images, but we set it to 12, and we it also gives us a cursor for us to know where to load the next batch of images. And that's how we implement the infinite scrolling. So when we scroll and encounter the loading bar, it will fetch the next batch, get the cursor, and then fetch the next batch of images. So that is the image list. And when we click on the image, it's supposed to go to the image details page, right? And that is the URL that you can see on the screen. If I refresh, it is that page. But I mean, to keep the context of the current page and provide some animation, we do this thing called shallow routing. So when we click on it, we can open up, we can open a carousel pop-up overlay, and then over here we can see the images, and we can also see the next images. Can navigate left and right, and yeah, that is the carousel with shallow routing. And then third part, we basically go and explore how we can upload an image. That is very, very simple with Cloudinary upload widget. We just wrap it with our button, and then boom, you click on it, you can see the full-on Cloudinary upload widget over here. You can upload from your file, from anywhere in the cloud, or with a URL. And then we learned that you can actually use a lot of different add-ons or presets, and then use it as part of your upload presets. So you can set the upload presets to say what options you want for that upload presets to be, and then that everything is configured for you. You don't have to do too much things on it, right? But if you want to use some content analysis, you will need add-ons, and that is where you will need to create a signed upload request with signature. And it's also very easy. You get the code from the example, you paste it in, and that's it, right? So lastly, we explore how to use apply effects on images, right? Something like this. And we also explore that actually we can store some of this information as part of the context of the image, which you can get it when you load the image detail. Yeah, that is amazing. You can basically store more data about the image on the Cloudinary database as well. So that's it for this album, and hope you enjoy this video. Hope you learn as much as I am while preparing for this content. And if you like this kind of content or more contents about building applications with SvelteKit and Svelte, please do let me know. Give me some ideas, and yeah, comment in the description below. And if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, and remember to subscribe, and I'll see you the next one. Bye bye.